Shalom, Kahala Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Ruach double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders, great millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who with the house of David reborn again in this generation. And Shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage, we were known as and still are the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to go into a week of Hebrew Watch, right? Which is basically what I was calling the weekly wickedness, but I'm just going to call it the Hebrew Watch because, in some of these things that I'm bringing out, it's not all wickedness, but, it's all it is for the most part just news, right? It could be wicked or it could just be, uplifting news. So that's why I'm renaming these little sessions I do to the weekly watch. Okay, so this is basically just a bunch of news articles that I've gotten that are small little snippets, not big enough to make their own lessons on, but I just kind of want to go through them. Right, other brothers are doing this, so it's a good way to get through all the news and all the events that we're watching and seeing coming up that I think that you Akim should be aware of. So again, the first article comes from Forbes. It says the great wealth transfer is wrinkling millionaires whose children have their own ideas about how to spend and give it away, according to new research from UBS. It says new study finds rich boomers are stressed about handing down fortunes to their kids, right? So you got all these old ass Edomites out there, man, who have stored away all these ill-gotten gains, most of them, right? And they're worried about giving it to their kids. And why is that? Well, because this young generation has been destroyed, right? Destroyed by Amalek for the most part, right? With his new liberal worldviews and whatnot. And it all happened through the will of the Lord, right? See, because what's happening right now is there's a war between the so-called Jews, right? The top tribe of Edom, Amalek, and the rest of the Edomites, the so-called, Caucasians, right? Because you see, the crazy thing is that these Edomites, they think that they're separate people. The so-called Jewish people think they're not Caucasians. They think they're, they think that they're actually the true Jews of the Bible, but they're not. We all know, archaeology, history, and prophecy prove that the true Jews are the Negro, right? Just like Kanye West has been saying, just like the apostles way before him have been saying and teaching, okay? So people like this, right? These boomers, these old ass Edomites who are now worried that their kids are going to squander away their fortune are right to be worried. Because why? Because first and foremost, it's prophecy that the children of these Edomites will seek to please the poor. Let's get that real quick. This is Job 20:10. His children shall seek to please the poor, and his hand shall restore their goods. Right? Because you see, there's a prophecy that the wicked before the end days, as you're seeing here, that the children of the wicked would ultimately seek to please the poor, right? That being the poor being the Israelites, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And what are we seeing happening right now across the globe, right, of Western society, across the Edomite Empire, across the world? Well, you have what's known as the social justice warrior, right? This is where you get, a perfect example of this is when you went out and you looked at all those Black Lives Matter rallies, man. You were lucky if you'd seen a so-called Negro in the crowd. Mostly it was basically Edomites and Asians, but mostly just Edomites, man, that were in those BLM protests, okay? And why is that? Well, because you see there's great amount of guilt upon the children of Esau, and the children of Esau want to basically, live in peace, and they want to make amends for all the shit that their forefathers did. But hey, the Bible says, man, that it has to be blood for blood. So again, it won't matter what what these Edomite, young generations do, man. They may even end up paying out reparations But again, that isn't enough, especially for what they've done and all the wickedness they've done. And I'm talking about Amalek, right? The so-called Jews, because again, when you get into history, Amalek was the top tribe that was behind most of the atrocities that happened to the Negro, Latino, and Native Americans, from owning the slave ships and pushing forward all this alternative lifestyle and just the rap music. The rest of these Edomites help out, but for the most part, when you look at the political structure, the economic system, the music industries, the entertainment industry, it's all Amalek at the top, and basically his henchmen are just your standard Edomites. Okay. Well, the next story shows you this. It says primary school kids are to be fed insects as an eco-friendly alternative. Right? Check that out, man. It says pupils at 4 primary schools will be offered edible insects as scientists urge young people to embrace alternative protein and eco-friendly meat substitutes. Right? You see that? And what are they doing, man? They're going after the kids, the soft-headed, no fucking, ability to say no, because they've been so brainwashed by these schools, man. Which again, they're pretty much schools nowadays are just indoctrination, institutes, man. They don't teach you how to learn. They basically give you a bunch of his story and give you facts that Esau's made up, right? Or basically embellished, and the kids who prosper in these modern school systems are the ones who simply can regurgitate facts that they've been taught, but who have what you would refer to as street smarts or critical thinking ability. Okay, it says while most children expect to eat the likes of lasagna and fish and chips while at school, pupils at 4 Welsh primary schools will soon be given the chance to sample bugs and insects as part of the new environmental study. Researchers hope to feed the pupil a product of products called Viso, a combination of insects and plant-based proteins said to resemble conventional mince. Mince is like vegetable medley type of shit, right? It says the children will also take part in workshops organized by scientists and teachers to inform them about the benefits of eating alternative proteins like bugs. Let's read this. This is Proverbs 29:7. The righteous considereth the cause of the poor, but the wicked regardeth not to know it. Scornful men bring a city into a snare, but the wise men turn away wrath. Right? And you see, so ultimately what's happening, man, is you have the elites of the world right now trying to save the resources of the earth, right? They are under the assumption that there is not enough resources in the earth for them to survive the way they want to survive, right? Them and their progeny, you see? And because the thing is that they're not, like the scripture says, they believe that their houses shall go on forever. So they understand that there is enough resources in the world right now, right? But they're worried about when the population of the earth will go up to 20, 30, 40 billion people, and then that's where you get those dystopian futures where the earth's all destroyed, the sky is red, full with pollution, and there's no more trees, right? A good example of this would be your Blade Runner 2045 movie, right, which showed how outside the cities everything was dead, right? Well, this is what Esau, the elites, they think that the world is going to turn to, right? Now, they ultimately believe that they're going to be able to destroy the Lord when he comes back, and hence, in doing so, they want to make sure that there's enough resources on earth that haven't been used up by the useless eaters, right? That's, you and I, right? So that way their children and their families can have the resources to last them, down into the future, right? And to do so, they have to kill off the majority of the world, right? They've set it on their own, 10 commandments, the Georgia Guidestones, where they want to keep the earth population down to 500 million, meaning they need to kill off 7.5 billion people to meet those goals. And what we're living through right now, the destruction of the human race by initiating the alternative lifestyles, pushing forward the don't have a child propaganda, right? The feminist movement, even the COVID hoax that's pushed, that went by, that made everybody take that snake bite, that now they're finding out that they're becoming infertile, and they're finding, and that's for those people who happen to survive, right? There was a recent study in Japan showing that these snake bites do have a DNA targetable audience, right? That being of the European Caucasians, the so-called Negro, or basically us Israelites, and then you have the Asians, but who it does not affect. 0% effect would be the so-called Jew and the Amish, right? Go figure. That just shows you, man, that the Amish have a lot more in connection with Amalek than what is publicly made known, right? So let's get on to the next article. It says, seabed 2030, almost 25% of the world's seafloor now mapped, right? So this shows you, man, that you got Esau out here claiming that he's going to go to Mars and he's going to go back to the moon, which that's just a bunch of BS, man. These devils haven't gone past the Van Allen belt. They haven't sent a living being past the Van Allen belt. Yes, they've sent satellites and all these other non-living apparatuses out into space, and they've gotten photos and everything, but there's been no living being outside of space, right? Or past the Van Allen belt, right? The radiation belts of the Van Allen belts just won't allow it. Anything gets radiated. Now that being said, these devils, they like to embellish their explorative feats, right? But this right here just shows you, man, that Esau doesn't even understand what is under the sea, man. Only 25% of the world's seafloor now has been mapped, right? And the question is why is Esau trying to map the bottom of the floor? Well, I'll tell you why, man. Because there's a prophecy, right? Or it was a rhetorical, statement made by the Lord, which is this. This is Jeremiah 31 and 37. Thus saith Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yashai, if heaven above can be measured, and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, I will also cut off all the seed of Israel for all that they have done, saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yashai. You see that? This is one of those little, what do you call them? I guess you could say caveats to the contract that the Lord made with us Israelites, right? But the funny thing is that these are kind of like unreachable goals, right? Kind of how the Lord said that if the moon and the sun continue to give their light, that the seed of Israel will continue, right? So this right here is the Lord basically saying to Esau, man, if you could do this impossible task, then I shall do the impossible and cut off the seed of Israel, which the Lord is not going to do. And why is that? Well, because it is said in prophecy that we have already won. We have already received our reward, and kingdom of heaven has already been made for us, right? Only thing we got to do now is simply, go through this existence and wait upon the Lord to return, for Him to put us back in our rightful place, that being in the rulership over these other nations. Now, like I said again, Esau, you always hear him saying, man, that they've mapped, that they're mapping the universe. They're close to having it all mapped, right? But there's that image of the observable universe that they haven't even really seen. They've only taken I think radiography like scans of it or something like that. But the point being is that not only is space unmeasurable for these Edomites, but also, as this article shows, right, that even the depths of the oceans are unmeasurable, right? Because again, it just shows you, man, only 25% of the whole ocean floor has been measured, right? So that shows you, man, Esau can't even fulfill, this rhetorical offer that the Lord gave him, man. Now let's watch this. This is Genesis 27:40. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And the key point here is by thy sword shalt thou live, right? And this is talking about none other than these Edomites, the so-called Caucasian race. And what you just seen is a taste of what that sword that Esau swings is capable of doing, man. I just wanted to share this video because, I know a lot of, of our people are very ignorant, man. You have a lot of young jakes being stupid, and waving around these little stolen handguns and, with extendo clips and all that shit, man, barrel clips, and they think that they think they're actually doing something, man. You simply have stole a toy of Esau, man, and you're waving around like you're gonna basically defend your whole neighborhood and shit, right? What you just seen is an example of what Esau's sword, truly can do, man. That shit was freaking spitting fire, man, right? So many bullets that it could literally probably cut down a tree, right? So this is what we're up against, man. This is what, we have to contend with, right? And this is why, Esau's in power, man. This is why we ultimately need the Lord, man. There ain't no way that none of us are gonna take down these devils, man, by carnal means, man. This is why this is spiritual, man. Esau's elevated the craft of war and the sword to a level where he is unmatched, okay? Esau's closest rival are other Edomites, right? The Russians, the English, right? The Israelis, they're all Edomites. And they're all in possession of incredibly powerful weapons like this, man, right? Don't be fooled. The things that we see on TV, that's not the pinnacle of Esau's technology, right? Remember, the government tends to be about 30 to 40 years ahead in technology advances than the rest of the general public, right? So when we get a glimpse of these advanced, weaponry in wars and stuff like that, this is what Esau is really about, man. And for a lot of you Akim who've been in the military, you know what I'm talking about, man, right? There's a very big difference between the power that Esau wields at the police level and the power that Esau wields in the military level, okay? So these are those devils, man. These devils fulfill this prophecy, right? They have ruled the whole world by their sword, right? This is why they're going to try to antagonize Russia and China into a war, right? Because this is how Esau is able to, this is how Esau likes to solve everything, is by the sword, right? Next, let's get into this. It says, meet the EU law that could reshape online speech in the US. It says, when Kanye West made anti-Semitic comments on Instagram and Twitter earlier this month, Meta and Twitter responded by locking his account, reasoning he violated their community guidelines. Crucially, the decision to freeze his accounts temporarily, halting his expression in those spaces, was made independently by the companies. No government actor was involved. The First Amendment generally precludes the US government from limiting private speakers and companies' ideas or controlling how social media firms govern their spaces. But other governments may soon fill the void and regulate how American tech giants referee space on their platforms. Earlier this month, the European Union approved legislation aimed at regulating social media platforms, the Digital Service Act. Right? Remember that word, Akim. The Digital Service Act. This is what's going to bring forward the famine of the word. The law will take effect in 2024 in time for the next U.S. presidential elections. The promises big shifts in how online speech is refereed, not just in Europe, but also here at home. The law, amongst other requirements, places substantial content moderation expectations on large social media firms, many based in the US, which include limiting false information, hate speech, and extremism, right? And this truth that we're talking about, man, fills all those check boxes, man. This is why the ADL has, or what is it? The Southern Poverty Law Center, which basically it's the ADL, has come out and identified us as a hate group, right? But hey, when your kingdom is built on lies, truth is hate to you, right? Because truth is bringing forward the destruction and the revealing of the false empire, right? Now, that being said, how is this possible? How is it that a European Union organization can basically hold sway over the American population, right? When America is governed by the Constitution, supposedly, right? Because really, Americans really don't even operate under the Constitution anymore. Most Americans, the majority of Americans, operate under what's known as commercial law, right? The ICC, right? And this is because back after they supposedly freed the slaves, basically America, they simply transferred the ownership of slaves from private slave ownership to publicly owned slaves, right? The government owned these slaves, right? And this is where the social security numbers came in, this is where birth certificates came in, and eventually, little by little, the government started basically tricking people into getting social security cards because they offered them a security net when they got older, and people eventually started to leave the common law environment, which the Constitution reigns, and they had immense rights under the common law realm. But when they gave up their their sovereignty, right, or they basically gave up their rights in common law to operate under commercial law, they did that by getting their social security number, pretty much registering with the government, and now operating in the commercial realm, right? And if you're watching this video, you're in America, you more likely are also operating under the commercial law. And you can tell this if you go to your driver's license or any sort of contract you've made with a bank, a loan institution, or any type of real loan. You'll notice that your name is in full capitals, right? And the reason is because when your name is listed in full capitals, that's not literally you. That's what's known as your straw man or your corporation, or what's known as in the Black's Law Dictionary, the dictionary which lawyers use, that is your person, okay? And your person is like your legal avatar that you can use to operate in this world, to get a driver's license, to get it paid at your job, to get a job, right? When you get tickets, it's your person who gets a ticket, right? And when you go to court, it's you that show up on behalf of your person. This is why you can also hire a lawyer to represent your person, okay? But again, it's deep and I don't want to digress. But yeah, this is ultimately what's happening, man. The reason that the European Union can hold sway over American citizens is because American citizens no longer are operating under common law, the Constitution, and are now operating under commercial law. And what happened back in 2016, you had that devil Obama give away the internet, right? It says, this is McCarthy says, Obama gives away U.S. control of the internet. This was on October 6, 2016, basically before that devil Obama went out of office, right? He signed over ICANN, the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, right? See, because, and I know about this because I work in the in basically the web administration field, right? I'm an IT specialist, okay? So I work with servers, domains, and all that type of stuff. So ICANN is the company who basically regulates website names, okay? Because every website that is out there all has what's known as an IP address, an internet address, okay? And those numbers, and it's all like a set of, 4 sets of numbers that make up your IP address, right? Every computer that's connected to the internet has it. Every website has an IP address and everything. So to make it easy for you to go to a website, instead of remembering, a set of like 8 to 12 different numbers, what you're given a website name like google.com, which forwards to an IP address, right? And the way it works is ICANN is the company that regulates the assigned names that go to those IP address numbers, right? So if they want to take down a website, the way that these devils can take down your website is that they'll basically break your website name. Though your website may be up as long as you go to the IP address, right? But the name no longer works. And why is that? It's because the name has been registered and it belongs to a corporation that is beholden to the ICANN organization, right? And it tells you here, let's read this. In another blow to American global leadership, the Obama administration is abdicating control of the internet. Countries that loathe freedom will gain more influence over what you'll be able to find on the web. The US started the internet and served as its guardian for many years, guaranteeing that virtually any person or group, no matter how controversial, could add a website to the worldwide network. But on October 1st, the Obama administration surrendered US oversight to the multinational organization, the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. ICANN will have sole power to grant web addresses or deny them, essentially banning sites from the internet. If a site doesn't have an address from ICANN, you won't be able to find it. Donald Trump says that this threatens our freedom of expression and our national security, right? And I read all this to say this, right? The reason why Americans now are subject is because your false leaders, man, gave away the internet, right? The internet that was based, here in America, which fell under the constitutional law, freedom of speech, the First Amendment, it now no longer resides in America, right? It is now a European corporation, and hence it is subject to the, what is it called? The, where is it? The Digital Service Act, right? So there you go, America, right? Your leaders have sold you out, right? But again, if you've been in this truth, if you've been following these videos, you understand that Obama has been bought and paid for and raised to be that perfect president from his childhood, okay? And this is all, par for the course. It's all part of Amalek's, job, or Amalek's agenda to take over the world and bring forward the New World Order, right? But again, he ain't gonna succeed, right? Because again, it's all part of the Lord's plan that Amalek, these Edomites, are about, that they'll get close to fulfilling their agenda of bringing forward the New World Order, but ultimately it's going to fail, and that's because the Lord's going to trip them up. Now, let's read this. This is Isaiah 29:15. Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and the works are in the dark. And they say, who seeth us, and who knoweth us? Right? And that ultimately means, woe means destruction. So man, these people here who are trying to hide behind all this bureaucracy, transferring rights of organizations to different parts of the world so that way different laws can apply, this shit's all work in darkness, man. All this shit that these devils are doing, man, it's all going to come back and bite them in the butt, man. But again, this is how it has to play out. And why is that? Well, it tells you here, 2 Corinthians 13:8. For we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth, right? And Amalek's getting a fucking taste of this right now, right? Trying to go up against Kanye and stuff like that, right? And even though Kanye, man, even though he's our people, he did sell out, man. But who knows, man? If the Lord wants to redeem him, the Lord will redeem him. But for the most part, man, I think Kanye is simply just gonna, he may be controlled opposition or whatnot, but the point being is that he's bringing attention to this truth, right? And these devils, even if Kanye is a planned opposition, which I don't think so. I think he honestly is trying to rebel now against his contract with Satan, but I don't think he's gonna win just because you can't forfeit a Faustian bargain with the devil and shit, man. Right? But again, who knows? We'll see what happens. But the point being is that Amalek, his traditional, calling people anti-Semites and all this stuff, and crying and stuff about what's going on, is now actually not working anymore for him, man. Right? These Amalekites, they're now starting to get pushback. Right? You're seeing people put up projectors saying Kanye was right about the Jews. You're starting to see more of our people standing up to these devils, right? Saying that that what Kanye said wasn't actually wrong. See, these devils, they're losing their power, right? They're losing their influence upon the world. And why is that? That's because the Lord is taking away that ability from them, man. That blessing that Amalek and Edom had upon them, that where they couldn't do no wrong and that they would succeed no matter what the fuck they did, right? These Edomites can open up a store to sell buttons and they'll have a thriving business, right? All that shit's going away, man. All these blessings that these devils were able to secure their fortunes and their prosperity by, all that's going away, man, right? And ultimately, by these devils trying to lock down the internet, ultimately what it's going to do is going to cause more people to realize that there's something amiss here. People are going to start searching out the truth, right? Because they're going to see that that the truth is being blocked, right? And again, these devils, these Edomites are doing their best to try not to make us Israelites, the true Hebrew Israelites, the main target, right? This is why they'll always mention other groups like white supremacy, but ultimately that's really just about us, right? Because even though Amalek is at war with the rest of the Edomites, right? Because again, the beautiful thing is that the Lord got these Edomites thinking each other are Amalek, right? The Christian Caucasians think they're Israel, and they think the so-called Jews are Amalek, and the so-called Jew think Edom is America, right? And they're Israel. Right? But this is ultimately how the Lord is making these Egyptians fight the Egyptians and shit. And the great thing is that the truth will always win, man. The truth will always come out, as it tells you in the scripture. And next, let's watch this disgusting video.
Hail Satan. Hail Satan. Hail Satan.
Now we need pictures of our foreheads.
Billa's trying to call me.
Can you hear my beard?
Hail Satan. Sure they will. I'm sure they will.
That's still going on TikTok later.
Oh yeah.
I'm guessing that's what y'all are on too, right?
Not TikTok.
No.
Hail Satan.
Huh? Yeah.
I don't know, 1,000. Yeah. I don't get on there much.
Jeff. Wait, his Facebook is Scott White, so you'll find him on my...
So there you go, man. It is plain to see, man, who these people are, man. This is 1 John 3:10. In this, the children of God are manifest, and the children of the devil. Whosoever doeth not righteousness is not of God, neither he that loveth not his brother. Right? And this is ultimately talking about Esau, man. Right? Esau didn't love Jacob, right? In fact, he made a vow to kill Jacob, his brother, after he was done mourning his father. This is why you have so much enmity between the white race and the so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, man, right? And it tells you, man, it has been made manifest who are the children of the devil, right? In this video, man, it's very plain to see who all these people are, man. They were all so-called Caucasians, man, right? And they were loving this shit, man. This right here is the true, state of these Edomites, right? Out there, let me see. Where's that video? Where's that part? This is the true state of these Edomites, man. They love wickedness, right? They are, like the Bible says, man, that they shall call them the border of wickedness, right? That there is no, that there's none as profound as Esau, right? These people have been built this way. They've been built to be wicked, right? Though they may be your friends at work, or they may smile with you out in public. There's these devils, man. They're full of wickedness, right? Inside of them dwells the soul, which is powered by Satan and shit. Okay, these are the wicked that the Bible speaks of. This is Job 9:24. All day, right? The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth up the faces of the judges thereof. If not, who and where is he? Right? Well, I'm telling you, who is he? He's the Caucasians. And where is he? He's all over the world, right? And the thing is, and the crazy thing is it's not all white people, right? It is, the vast majority of Edomites are within the Caucasian race, but not all supposed Caucasians are Edomites, right? You're going to have a lot of I guess you call them Edomite tares, who are actually go back to other nations. And why is that? Well, because the father is the determiner of what nation the child comes out of, right? So, for example, man, like let's say this devil here on the right, let's say his dad was actually a Chinese man, right? And his mom was a so-called white lady. He would be technically a Chinese, a Moabite, right? And we see this all day long, man, when you have the women of our nation getting with these Edomites. The children that come out, they're Edomites, even though they may look Latino, a light-skinned Negro or like a Native American Indian. If their father is a Caucasian, then they are a Caucasian, but they're just a colored Caucasian, right? And same thing, vice versa, man. You got Jakes, bedding up these Edomite wenches or these other, these Asians and stuff, and the child may come out looking Chinese, Japanese, white, right? But the thing is, man, is that if their father's line goes back to a so-called black man, Latino, or Native American, then they're an Israelite, right? But just like it tells you in Romans, man, that the Spirit bears witness that we are the children of God, right? The Spirit bears witness that these devils, these Edomites, these Caucasians, that they are the children of Satan, man. These are the Edomites, the wicked, that the Bible speaks of, right? Their actions, their fruit bears witness, right? This is Isaiah 3:11. Woe unto the wicked, it shall be ill with him, for the reward of his hands shall be given him, right? And these devils, man, they're gonna get wicked upon, as a reward, man. Wickedness is gonna be given to these devils, man, right? Because again, you reap what you sow, and they think that out here they're out here building a future, right? By building up all these, by trying to push forward these social justice movements and everything. But these devils have to pay for the wickedness that they've done in the past. This is Job 11:20. But the eyes of the wicked shall fail, and they shall not escape, and their hope shall be as the giving up of the ghost, right? So this is showing you, man, that though these wicked, these Edomites are trying to, well, some of them at least are trying to satiate the minorities, us Israelites. The point being is that they're going to ultimately fail. They're going to, that's not going to get them out from their judgment, and that they're ultimately going to have to pay for what they did in their past lives. Okay, and what does it say that their hope is going to be? Is to give up the ghost, man. That they're going to be in such a horrible, destroyed state in the kingdom of heaven that they're gonna wish for death. That's how bad they're gonna get it, man. So that pretty much does it, Akim. This pretty much wraps up the weekly watch. So hopefully this lesson was edifying. And till next time, I give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, B'Hashem Rekal Kodash, double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. Shalom.